So my usual Monday live stream was obviously not on last week because I had COVID. So, yep, I was out of action last week because, yes, of the COVID. So I wasn't around, but now back in action. I've got everything, the stream set up on YouTube, but things aren't quite as neatly mounted on Instagram, so I'm just going to show you a quick glance on Instagram of what the new stuff is. Just a little tiny glance of what's going on. This is massively not finished, but I've been chatting a bit about how we're getting the NAMM models in. So we captured a bunch of stuff at Deluxe Guitars, and Joe is actually fixing up my mediocre photography soon, but you'll see that we've actually captured a bunch of amps. And yeah, those are all amps that you can now play, and there's interfaces for them. So they'll be coming in the next update, which is a little bit delayed, but because I had COVID. But yep, next update should have these amplifiers in them. This is, obviously I'm still working on this, so this bit's not finished yet, but it's going to get prettier looking, searching through amps and stuff like that. So that's using the NAMM Amp Modeler code, so NAMM. If you've seen anything around that online, you'll be able to see that. We're also writing a nice little thing to make capturing easier, so we've been working on that. Yes, the amps will be available on the firmware is identical between Hector and Beebo, so the amps will be available on Beebo and Hector if you want. So yeah, and yeah, that's all neural amp modeling. So yeah, the quality is amazing, the accuracy of the captures. So we captured a bunch of stuff at Deluxe Guitar, but we'll be here in Melbourne, fantastic guitar shop that stocks our stuff. But you can capture stuff yourself as well, and we'll be capturing more amps, and yeah, hopefully everybody else will capture stuff as well. So that's going to happen, and we'll do some captures of Flat 5 and stuff on there as well. So yeah, I'm going to get back to the normal. I haven't got I will show you a little bit of the regular viewers of the stream. We'll notice that the background is different and everything else is. We're currently moving everything, and I will slowly rotate to not make people sick. My computer is currently covered up in plastic, but we are currently moving all the machines because we have another one coming here, a solder paste inspection machine, which I got at an auction as a bargain. But yeah, the rest of the pick and place line is over there, and our metalworking line is back here, and some of that is all moving. So you'll see everything is currently a giant mess, and our flooring isn't down anymore, and yeah. So there's lots going on here at the moment, which means I can't find the stand for the phone. So yeah, if you want to see the rest of this stream where I talk about every week I'm going through each of the modules. So we are currently up to F, so I'll be going through F. So that will now be over on YouTube, where I go through the rest of the modules and go through F. So yeah, just mostly so I don't give you motion sickness trying to hold the phone at the same time, because I don't know where the phone mount has gone, because we're moving everything. And yeah, I had COVID, so bit behind on stuff. But yes, this neural amp modeler stuff, NAMM, should be coming in the next couple of weeks. I'm a bit delayed, but yeah. So all these pretty little amp captures, and this UI is, hopefully going to get better over time. But that's kind of the gist. So you'll be able to capture all your amps in a really, obviously in Beebo, so it's a, very portable format. So full fly rig. You've got some nice gain options here combined with it. So yeah, that should make that kind of format nice. So if you want to see the rest of this, run through this one, we'll do that over on YouTube. Yep, sorry that I'm a little bit still under the weather after, COVID last week, but feeling much healthier now. Yeah, if you want to ask any questions, I can answer some questions briefly here on Instagram or YouTube. Yeah, just give me a yell, and then I shall answer the aforementioned questions. But yeah, I'll just glance on YouTube as well. Sorry about the motion sicknessiness about this navigation. Very good on here. Oh, yes, indeed. I noticed that the inputs and outputs are am I running? No, I'm running left to right. Somebody just said that the inputs and the outputs are reversed. You can choose that. That's in settings. In settings, there's you can either run left to right or right to left, depending on your preference. Because mostly pedals, run right to left, but some people find that visually stuff on screens should go to left to right. So it goes either way. The Eurorack people obviously mostly prefer the left to right, but guitarists sometimes prefer right to left. So both options are available in case you just noticed that one. If you also go into settings, there's an option that says flip somewhere. Yeah, flip screen. This one. If I can focus on that. Flip screen. I just realized I might have broken I might have blocked that one for the YouTube one. Anyway, flip screen. It's there. That'll make the screen upside down. Yeah, now that's kind of confusing. Just in case you want to mount your pedal in a different way, or your Eurorack module, if you want to have it upside down. So yeah, you can go left to right or upside down. Those are options. So yeah, that is hopefully the answer to that question. So yeah, that's the extent of the Instagram one. Sorry for motion sickness. That's just a little bit of a glance about what we're up to, and yeah, why we are delayed. We are moving the machines, and the big scary pick and place machines, and just creating mess everywhere. Mess. Yeah, so much mess. But yeah, hopefully that will be tidy. And yeah, I'm trying to catch up on all the stuff I missed last week when I had the plague. All right, so chat soon. I'll keep going on YouTube. This is the end of the Instagram-y one. But yeah, if you want to see the normal weekly stuff, I'll do that on that one. All right. We return. So, continuing with the normal screen. Yeah, I'll run through the new... We'll just keep running through what's going on. And I'll just run through these modules quickly. Yeah, I'm still not 100%, so we're having a bit of a abridged version today. So, we'll just run through F. So F is for filter. So these are all pretty straightforward, truthfully. There's the generic filter. It's just a basic virtual analog filter. If you want one with more flavor, if you click on filters here, he says with some accuracy, filters, there'll be other ones, diode ladder filters, Uberheim filter, the Korg filter, and the UG filters. So they're different virtual analog models. So all of these will have generally the same I'll get rid of that amp now. All of these will have basically the same concepts. Some of them have more controls than the other one. Basically to change how they can be modulated. So you'll see resonance here. So there's some extra multiplications in this particular one. There's output gain control, input gain, which is just the same as having a VCA before or after. Resonance and resonance gain, so just extra boost on the resonance area. So just, being able to control some more of that. Frequency is pretty obvious, just the cutoff frequency. The one that's just called filter, it says in its description, is a low-pass filter. So there are low-pass, high-pass, and band-pass filters. I don't think we have band stops. We probably should. There's those ones. And they can all be modulated in different ways. So if you grab something like and LFO. You can connect that up, and you'll see that this particular module has got two different ends for frequency. You've got this exponential frequency modulation and another linear frequency modulation and a resonance modulation. So this means that you can, depending on how your CV input works and what effects you want to have, you can control it on different things there. So yeah, you can connect those up to control different aspects of the filter, for whether it's resonant ones or not. Those will the values you set here will also interact with the values you set in the CVs you're sending in. So you can they offset each other, if that makes sense. So yeah, filters. We've got a few more filters as well. This next one, the Uberheim filter, or Uberheim filter. This is very similar actually to the filters. It's based off the same Curtis chip, the same filters in so the Flat 5 uses a Curtis chip, an actual analog Curtis chip for its filters, and this one is a model of a Curtis chip. So it's just got Q and cutoff, so it's a simpler kind of style. But the cool thing about this one is that you can do some really fun things with this filter, because if I connect this one up to mono out, you'll notice I do have band stop. It's got band pass, band stop, high pass, and low pass in it. All four of those outputs at the same time. So this is really handy if you want to do multi-band stuff, because if you want to send some of your signal to all your highs to something and all your lows at the same time to something, you can split them up using this. So this basically lets you do kind of crossover-ish stuff. Obviously, you also have Q, so you can have boosts at some of those frequencies. So there will be content that's in both parts, in the low and high pass, because they're not a hard stop in between them. But yeah, so you can easily do stuff like that, where you split up sections of the frequencies and get them to connect to stuff. I'll show that one. Let's hear what that one sounds like. So I'll just go into out, and then I'll grab one of those outputs. Band pass. So band pass is quite wiry. We'll just try a bit of Q, and so you notice that that's massively wiry. And now if we disconnect this one and go for band stop instead, we're just going to be dropping out the frequencies that we hit. So it's that's the opposite of the band pass. Low pass and high pass should be relatively obvious. High pass is, obviously these are the same kind of things that Flat 5 has got in them, but modeled instead of real. So obviously high pass. And it can get pretty squelchy, or at least a little bit squelchy. All right, and then obviously you can move that as you preference. So yeah, that's the Uberheim filter. So that's a very flexible, very powerful filter that does a lot of kind of interesting stuff. And yeah, if you want to make any effects where you're doing different stuff to the low and highs, you can use the Uberheim filter to do that. Just glance at question. Yeah, cool. Oh yeah, thank you for the kind words about the Amp UI. Yes, that will be much prettier soon. Yep. So, yeah. Flanger. Yeah. Cool. So again, Flanger is one of these things where you've got a flanger that's got its own LFO built in, and one where you can control it with an external thingy, CV. Yep, so let's drop in a flanger. So you'll notice the flanger with no controls has no CV inputs. So it's pretty straightforward. There's one or two little confusing things. So BPM should be obvious. It's the speed of our flange. Again, if you want to have this tempo synced, use the external and have a tempo synced LFO. Depth controls the strength of that, the depth of this effect. Delays are big, flanges are made with delays, so the amount of delay time will change how these interact. If they get longer, they start to get more delay-ish and less flanger-ish, really. As you can see. So yeah, that's that one. The same thing, obviously, flanger with an LFO. The Flanger Ext, it just lets you connect up an LFO, any CV to it. So then you can use any of the CV modules to do interesting things. What are we up to? Footswitch, A, B, C, D, and E. What are these ones? Basically, the Footswitch ones lets you either have tap tempo, so anything that takes in tempo can then be controlled by the tap tempo, so this is our current tempo, 120 BPM. We can connect Footswitch A, BPM out, like so, and then we now see we have tapped in a 132 BPM. So that's how we tap tempo that in. So that's a way to tap tempo any module that you want to, that has got a BPM input. Okay, other things you can do with this one. So it's got CV outs, and you can set the values of those, the off value and the on value, and the current value. This current value, say, changes when you press the button. This is handy in case you want to bind this directly to MIDI, and then you can control the same, you can have stuff that's either controlled by MIDI, like the same patch can either be controlled by MIDI or by your Footswitches. So this will send a CV out. What can you do with this CV out? Well, you can control anything you can control with CV. So if you want, so normally whenever you want to bind something, say you want to bind this number here to MIDI or something, you just hold that and press it, right? And then hold the dots and then you bind it. But there might be things where you want to send internally from the Footswitches something, a CV value to something. And then you can fade in something, fade out something, any of those by just sending a CV. Because obviously the Footswitch will turn on and off straight away. But if you run that CV through a filter or a slew limiter, it'll slowly come in and out. So then you can fade sounds when you hold the Footswitch down, which, yeah, I could show. So that's showing the tempo. Let's fade a thing. Grab a VCA. There's our VCA. So you could do this with a filter or a slew limiter. Right now we'll do it with a slew limiter. Probably fine. So our value out to our slew limiter, then there. So the value is going into the VCA. So I strum guitar, no sound. I press button down, sound. And then see it fades in. So it fades in and out when you press the foot switch. Obviously you can change that fade time by just changing the parameters on the slew limiter. So that's just a basic thing you can do with the foot switch. And obviously anything you want to do with CVs, if you want to use this as a trigger that triggers a step sequencer, if you want it to reset a sequence, any of those things, you can do tons of stuff with the being able to use these to send CVs. So yeah, the other foot switches are all the same. They're just the different foot switches. Freeze is the last one in F. What you need to know about freeze is don't use this module. It was originally added a long time ago, and there's a bunch of other modules that do the same thing better. All the other ones that have a freeze mode, like the granular, the time stretch, maybe the other ones, the granular looping envelope, that one. No, sorry, granular looping thingy, delay. All of the ones that have freeze things in them are usually better at freezing than freeze is. I just keep it in there because otherwise people's patch would break. However, if you really want to listen to it, we can do things with it. It does work in occasional occasions. How does it work? This is the release once you stop freezing. Obviously, you can turn on and off freeze here, but you can also do the CV trick that we just said, which we may do. Okay, value out to freeze. And we have frozen, which may or may not be handy for you. And there's a fade time. It's best at catching longer notes. It works okay if you capture an attack, you get into weird things. So you really want to capture a decay of a note. But there you go. That's freeze. And that is the end of F. So next week, we'll be doing G, where we get into the really crazy stuff of granular. If you have any questions, please ask them now. Otherwise, that will be the end of this week. We'll just glance at the questions. Oh, yeah. Somebody asked about sending CV stuff to Flat 5. So Flat 5 doesn't have CV input, but it does have MIDI input, a fantastic thingy that you can control absolutely. So every single parameter on Flat 5 is controllable by MIDI, and you can send MIDI out from Beebo to Flat 5. If I knew where any of those plugs were, I would show that. Basically, actually, this might even be the right cable. So, yeah, you need to just plug a 3.5 mil. I'll show this one next week. So plug a 3.5 mil TRS cable out of Beebo and just plug it directly into Flat 5. and then you can use the CV to MIDI CC to control everything on Beebo. Oh, sorry, on Flat 5 from Beebo. So then if you've got an LFO, you can set it here. Obviously, this one has built-in LFOs as well, but you can control them from over here. You can then do things like change the diodes based on a step sequencer or something like that. Anything you want to do. So yeah, you get an amazing amount of control from MIDI CC. But yeah, so I can show you that next week. So yeah, let's glance if there are any other questions. Cool. Thanks very much for watching this week's run through. Yeah, next week we'll be up to G. And yeah, thanks.